What everyday skill becomes suspicious if you're too good at it? In my line of work, sales, there is a method called mirroring where you try to mimic the customer's tone and energy to be more relatable. I've spent many years trying to read people and am introverted as it gets, so I like to think I do this very well, with my fellow men being the easiest to read. Well, my employer noticed this and refers to it as an advanced sales tactic. They pulled me into a Zoom with other employees who suck at closing sales and had me try to teach it to them. Noticing cameras. Fabricating stories. I had a workmate that used to do that all the time while I was on the International Space Station. Edit, thanks for the awards. I will display them proudly on my freezer with Walt Disney's body in it. Walking quietly. Spatial awareness. I can look at something and tell you whether or not it will fit onto a wall, into a box or car, through a hallway or stairwell, etc. I was at a shipping store a few months ago and a guy was in line behind me trying to figure out which size box to get for the box he was trying to fit into it. I pointed at a specific size and said, "That one. But only if you put your box in this side up. It slid in perfectly," and he gave me the weirdest look. Somehow though, I always seem to bump into the corners of tables. Cleaning liquid spills. If Junior knocks over their glass or the cat gets too close and personal with the fish tank, most people just tend to throw a bathroom towel over it or get out the wet vac. Not super effective and tends to allow time for staining. Some salt, aerosolized carpet foam, and some paper towels will clean up anything like it was never there and in record speed. And all for the low price of making people uncomfortable as they imagine you as a mob cleaner. 4 extra points. Using this method to clean blood out of carpets or off cheap porous tile people's faces are funny as duck. Edit, thanks for the awards. Consider my disposals at your disposal, but don't get used to it. I ain't running no charity here. Where was this blood cleaning advice when I needed it last month? Hydrogen peroxide is also very effective with getting still wet blood out of your clothes. Former Navy corpsman. It really is. Current female. We'll get that pumpernickel juice cleaned up in a jiff. Remembering someone else's schedule. There was a restaurant in a hired hotel that had a casino. The waiter from that restaurant remembered our preference when we showed up with a friend 6 months later. You guys were either amazingly awesome restaurant patrons or a frickin' nightmare. I'm a former waitress bartender turned right now. The same happens with patients. I compare seeing patients in medicine to being a waiter all the time. The two are so similar it's uncanny. Bartenders and acre workers also require the same skills. Both involve managing the expectations and behavior of minimally self-regulating people. Minimally self-regulating people has now become my new descriptive category. Remembering things about people. I've lied about not knowing things to not seem like a creep. Dude, I do this all the time. I don't want to seem like a creep either. I just have a good memory. I have a horrible memory, but will remember really random things people tell me for years. Being unbothered by blood and guts. I'm a veterinarian. I've spent days up to my elbows in all manner of bodies and parts and fluids. I can watch surgery or necropsy videos over lunch. I did an eye surgery on Tuesday and somebody had to catch the new kid. The big ones aren't allowed to get faint. It's very inconvenient. Related aside, when the nice young lady at the bank says, "Oh my god, there's blood on your shirt," assuring her that it isn't your own in fact offers no reassurance. I love animals so much, and when people ask why don't I just be a vet, it's like, I don't want to see their insides. Counting bills quickly. Learned when in Uzbekistan, a place where the highest denomination was 1,000, but a meal at a restaurant cost 20-30k. I bartended in New York City, where closing time was after 4 AM. So the quicker I counted out my register, the quicker I could go home. I can count a stack of bills quick. Retail management without machines can do it the same. The bigger stores have bill counters and weigh their change. Walking with minimal sound. I creep up on people all the time. I don't mean to, but I make almost no sound when I walk. Same. I clip my keys to my belt loop in public, so people can hear me and not be startled run into me. I had to start doing this because at my former job I'd get a lot of Jesus Christ. Where the duck did you come from? Found Jesus Christ's Reddit account. Getting kids to trust me within seconds of meeting me. Pet nurse. That seems like a useful skill to have. But there's no way I'm going to have how to get kids to trust me within seconds of meeting me in my Google search history. In case anyone is genuinely interested, kids are smarter than adults take them for, and have a keen sense of when someone is only interacting with them out of enlightened self-interest. The main way to get kids to trust you is to interact with them with respect to their agency, and for them to understand that all of your interactions with them are only for their best interest. Kids can totally pick up on the vibes of people who see them as like cute stuffed animals or whatever rather than humans who deserve a level of respect. Source: experience as head lifeguard, digital English tutor, karate instructor. Kids can totally pick up on the vibes of people who see them as like cute stuffed animals or whatever rather than humans who deserve a level of respect. Looking back, all my favorite adults when I was a kid always seemed to take us seriously without treating me like a kid, and now I get along with all my young relatives because I try to avoid obviously patronizing them. Strep throat tests. Used to get strep a lot as a kid, so by the time I was tested for it as a 20-year-old I had the process down. They stick in the big popsicle stick to hold down your tongue and then they swab the back of your throat while you try not to gag. Well, I happened to be tested by a relatively new, young, attractive doctor this particular time, and when he complimented me on doing well on the test and not gagging, my response was, "Thanks, I've had practice." If not suspicious, it was at the very least mortifying. After realizing the implication of what I said, Ada, as a nurse who has performed these, any adult that could do a throat swab with zero gag, cough, or flinch always made me wonder. Reminds me of 6th grade lunch, when a guy proved to us that he had no gag reflex by repeatedly ramming a breadstick down his throat. His face started turning red and everything. The best part is that no one ever questioned his gag reflex in the first place, and I think he just wanted to show off, lol. I have a friend who could memorize numbers, ESP plates of vehicles. He'd then be able to recall it after months in totally random conversations. Edit: never thought this would blow up like this. Many people asked how we'd know he wasn't bluffing. Here is the thing, I know this guy from college. You can imagine how all of us would have gone to lengths to verify such things. Also, it works out to be useful in many situations, and he'd buy somewhat of a personal Google for a few of us. Like, hey, I can't seem to remember this guy's number. Do you remember? So when I was young and bored on car trips, my mom would always try to get me to play the license plate game. TPE tape, terpene, terpsichore, tympany. Mom earned tympany is with an I not an E. You mistype, tamponade. Turns out the reason mom was so obscenely good at the game that she could referee it instantly and near perfectly is that apparently she is playing it basically at all times just without saying anything about it. But if something goes down, there is a near 100% chance mom will know the license plate of the car in question. She has proven this way too many times. My aunt taught me a game that involved making names or phrases out of the letters. Like CPK 178 Charles Patrick Carriers doing 178 miles per hour. Or TSP 345 train spotted passing at 3:45. That was more than 20 years ago, and sometimes I'll catch myself playing when on a long road trip. Me and my wife were playing that in the car one day. Saw a car ahead of us that started with BHP. She yells "butt hump party." So now, every time we notice a BHP, oh, there's a butt hump party. It's the little things. Being able to recognize bills. No, I'm not a drug dealer. I just work in a pharmacy and some of them are very recognizable. Pharmacists are just licensed drug dealers. I will remember your car and every detail about it before I can remember your name. Avoiding people. Everyone assumes I'm up to something because I spend so much time alone and out of sight. When you instinctively go to private search on your phone, I use private search for everything except porn. If Google is going to track my data, then Google can watch me jerk off. They are tracking you regardless. Private mode just keeps you from getting the reminder of your last activities. Knowing a friend's schedule, especially for close friends. I've remembered their schedules just from them randomly bringing up what classes they have in conversations. Moving through unreasonably tight and cluttered spaces normally. My friends and I used to hang out at an extremely cluttered warehouse that belonged to a hoarder friend. It was full to the point where moving it all without getting stuck on something or causing a garbage avalanche was difficult. And there I was just gliding through hills of hoarded garbage like some kind of ghost. They told me it was creepy. Yay, back in high school I used to bob and weave straight through a hallway, fit for a 2000 plus student school. I hate physical contact with a passion. Even just a brush on my elbow or shoulder. Like learning to airbend by being the leaf. Yes, I can do this too. It's the combination of going to overcrowded schools most of my life, being tiny, and racing fellow tiny kids through the overcrowded schools. First time I went to a concert with my stepdad, it was at a small venue. So the snack area was insanely crowded. He was amazed at how quickly I weaved through the throng. I still would rather be tall. But hey, at least I have advantages to being small. As a kid I was always that person who everyone gave up finding during hide and seek. 2. I'd just occupy myself with daydreaming though, so I didn't mind. Staying calm. I didn't think of this answer, but it's a really good one. I've heard the phrase "how are you so calm about this?" on more than a few occasions. The trick is being so overwhelmingly numb and devoid of emotion that you just aren't invested in the outcome. I don't know if it called depression a trick. Remembering oddly specific details about someone's past. I tend to remember odd shit people say for years. It tends to freak people out. The worst reactions are when someone was just making up something for a story and have no memory of saying it in the first place. This is me. I remember conversations, jokes, dates, hangouts, text messages, meme exchanges and on. And it is weird when ages has passed and I make a joke or say hey like that time we were talking about, and they have zero idea because it was literally 18 months ago. I have also bought gifts for people based on this stuff and they just end up confused and not sure of the relevance. A compulsive liar's nightmare, lol. Can confirm. I get angry reactions a lot that I don't understand until I spend a while thinking about it and realize they weren't being forgetful. They were being deceitful. Ms. Excel. I found that by taking over reporting from others because it took them so much time, I'd automate it to pull from the database where the previous owner was spending 2 hours a day copy paste hundreds of cells, a couple hours work once, and I hit a button. Done. I'd use to release right away, even with a script to open, refresh, save, and email it. This caused people to not trust the numbers, so now I still pull in the data, but hold off on releasing it for a bit, even a bit late on occasion. Edit. I see a lot of people wanting to learn Excel. I did a lot of trial and error learning. I'm mid-50s, so I have some time under my belt. Learning a simple programming language helps. I'll learn BASIC as a kid and Pascal and Fortran later. VB is the most useful at this point though. In Excel you can add a developer tab, Google it. It will show you how to add it to your Excel. You can record macros that record your steps when you do things like insert a column, copy a row, etc. You can then see how it works. Mr. Excel, not to be confused with Ms. Excel, lol, is a great resource. Also, learn lookups as they are very helpful and you can get how other formulas work. Finally, Google knows all. If you have Outlook, there's a function to delay sending an email until a specified time. You can program it to send your email out anywhere from a minute to a year after you hit send. LPT always turn the delay on for 1 minute if you tend to forget to attach attachments and remember the moment you send the email. Recognizing sounds. I've knowledge of everything happening around me through sounds. Remembering things about them they forgot. I told my friend I was getting a job at a store we know. She told me, I think I've been there before. Then I told she has, and I repeated the conversation we had, word for word. I got some weird looks from her, lol. I'm good at stuff like that. My friend and I were talking about a hike and I mentioned that we have already done it. She said we hadn't yet. So I told her the approximate date, what we did before and after, what we talked about on it, etc. If you ask me what I had for dinner yesterday, I would struggle telling almost instantly by feel if a bill is real or counterfeit. Though I think more people should definitely be able to do it. Lower denomination US counterfeit bills can look amazing, but the feel is always off. People that are able to drastically change their personality, or the way they talk and act when around different groups of people or someone else arrives. For me, it's a coping mechanism I developed from a childhood of abuse and neglect. You have to be a different person to avoid the triggers, and sometimes it just catches you as an adult. Same. Childhood abuse does teach you to adapt quickly to survive, which turns into a lifelong coping mechanism to fit and also survive. But it leaves you not knowing who you actually are, which can cause an identity crisis when triggered by trauma such as rejection, abandonment later in life. Being able to quickly convert between ounce and gram. Extended version always referring to kilograms as keys. 16 ounces to a pound. 20 more to a key. Gito boys, a year later I robbed Dope House and stole a key. 36 is what I count. Now multiply 36 by 700 an ounce. Bag it off and make my profit. But some pussy methodica in office trying to stop it. Shuffling cards. Yep. One time you show how you can deal from the bottom and suddenly you're out of the weekly poker game. I loved learning card tricks when I was younger. It was an easy at home thing to do before the internet. As an adult, I get the logic. But like, does that mean the only thing stopping those people from cheating and screwing over their friends is simply the opportunity? Memory, especially their personal details. People have shit memory apparently. Googling. Oddly, people find it unsettling how quickly I can learn shit that untrained people aren't supposed to know. All I did was Google search till I found the info and then gave it a try. I'm not especially good at Googling, but it's baffling to see how bad at Googling some other people are. It's very helpful to be able to learn stuff quickly. I've forgotten my apartment key to the point that I can pick my own lock. People find that suspicious. So you would remember to take your lockpick kit with you, but not your keys. A lockpick kit works on a lot of doors, but their key will only open the one.